But let's get the latest right now in Ottawa and join Marion Warnica. As we were listening, you and I both to that briefing from officials from Defence, Immigration, Global Affairs. What stood out for you? What more did we learn about Canada's operation in Kabul, Marion?
Well, certainly, Michael, we learned a lot more about the complexity and the sheer scale of this operation. You mentioned leading into this that it's being called one of the largest, if not the largest, operation of its kind in modern history. We've heard from American officials just this morning that a total of 95,700 people were evacuated under this U.S.-led mission that Canada was a part of. And in this briefing that we just heard now, we got some more numbers about Canada's involvement. So just in the last 24 hours, we know that somewhere along the lines of 1,000 people were evacuated under operations that were coordinated by Canada, and Canadian officials saying that approximately 3,700 evacuees in total have been airlifted out. And that does include permanent residents, Canadian citizens, members of their families, and citizens of allied countries, as well as people who had significant ties to this country. People who perhaps would have helped Canada during its missions there over the years. And we also got a sense of just how many people applied to come under the special immigration measures. We heard from the IRCC that they'd received more than 2,500 applications under these special measures, and that actually represented 8,000 people. They're saying that they had processed about 2/3 of those. So by our rough estimates, that leaves potentially 4,300 people still left behind. Now, that's a very rough estimate because officials are telling us that the number of processed applications, those people might not still be in Afghanistan. They're trying to find out where they are. And the ones who are waiting may have gotten out on their own as well. And of course, they're still confirming the final numbers of evacuees. So it's a shifting situation that we're going to get more details on in the coming days, but these are sort of the rough numbers that we have right now. And the general also shared some more personal details or some more operational details about the difficulty. Of course, they've had to keep very tight lid on the operation and talking about the operation for safety reasons, for security reasons. But military leadership now talking about the difficulty of it, talking about how, some of these military people, were faced with folks they may have worked alongside, asking for help, and in some cases not being able to act. So take a listen to more of what he said about that.
Like so many others, I have received emails from people I worked with during my tours in Afghanistan who are desperate to get out or get their families out. Their pleas and the photos of the families in terrible situations that accompany many of them are heart-wrenching. They tear at our souls.
He talked about as well stories of some members giving their own food and their own water to the vulnerable Afghans and people around them that they were trying to help. He talked about, some hopeful stories, a story of a young girl who went on a flight, told her father that she wanted to become a police officer, and that her father said that in Canada, women can become police officers. So some pretty heart-wrenching stories out of there. And Michael, I think we were also going to just talk about the Ministry of Immigration and what they had to say about some of the folks left behind.
The political and security situation on the ground is very fluid. One thing we don't know, for instance, is once the military retrograde is completed, even what kind of airport will be available for civilian flights. So understanding even what kind of transportation options are available is still quite difficult.
And that representative mentioning that there is a line available, consular assistance will be available, and they're going to be working with allies in the region. They gave out a phone number, and they're saying that there's going to be people responding to that line 24/7. So obviously still a very high priority to help anyone in what has been and still is a very difficult situation.
Okay, Marion, thank you for that. Our Marion Warnica in Ottawa.